There have been worse weekends in Arkansas football history. The loss to the Citadel that cost Jack Crow his job in 1992. Then the loss to Memphis a few years later. That one was horrendous. The deal with Vanderbilt that got Houston Nutt on the negative side of the fans. Today, Brett Bielema has his first negative as an Arkansas coach in a game fans thought he should win big. The Razorbacks lose it to Toledo here at War Memorial Stadium, 16-12. Andy Hodges, Chad Neepling, Fox Sports Southwest, and Fidelity Local 6. And Chad, this one was about as disappointing for the Razorback fans as it can get.
Yeah, and you could really tell too. The fans were really dejected when they came through. You could tell that the players, when we just interviewed them, the emotion just really running low here, and a lot of angry sentiment coming from the fans, as we noticed as we were heading out. All right, Andy, as we go back and we look at the scoring drives, you see that Toledo at the 6:59 mark there in the first quarter is Corey Jones' 5-yard pass over to Philip Ely and turns around and gets that. So it's 6-0 as Arkansas, falling behind there in the first quarter. Second, you go in Arkansas, Alex Collins, 21-yard run, gets in. Cole Hunley kicks into extra. So we're looking at a 6-7 going out of second quarter. And then, of course, Toledo gets in with a 38-yard field goal right there before the half, takes the lead. It's 9-7 going into the halftime. Give me your thoughts on the first half.
Nobody was happy. Arkansas got some momentum back when Alex Collins had the big run. Really, it was the only time the offense and the running game appeared to be aggressive as Alex Collins, about where we're standing here on War Memorial Stadium, dove into the end zone right there. And that was the most exciting offensive play that the Razorbacks had all day. We thought that maybe Toledo messed up going for two after their first touchdown. Turns out it didn't really matter. This was an Arkansas team that we thought coming out in the second half was going to come out inspired. In fact, a lot of us up in the press box were talking about this is going to be a really interesting halftime in the Razorback press box because you can just see Bielema flying off the handle, Sam Pittman flying off the handle, everybody going insane. I don't get the feeling that happened, Chad.
I don't either. I think that, from what we got from the players' interviews as well as kind of from the coach, I don't know that they were quite prepared for this Toledo team. I think Toledo came out and really surprised them in this game. And you go back and you look after they came out after the first half, and Toledo, Jones to Moore comes out 11-yard run, 16-7. They take the lead there in the third quarter with 5:09 to go. And you turn around in the fourth, Arkansas, Hunley gets a 25-yard field goal, gets it up to 16-10, and then, of course, you get the team safety, which puts it 16-12, and that closed out the game. And to my surprise, a lot of fans, actually more than what I thought, stuck around to see that.
Well, it came down right here in the north end zone at War Memorial Stadium. The Razorbacks had two shots inside the 10-yard line. Mistakes, unforced errors, holding penalties, which were the bane of the existence. What was the holding or the penalty numbers for the Razorbacks today?
It was 85 yards, 9 penalties at 85 yards.
And Brett Bielema said in the postgame, and we're going to go there in just a minute and listen to that was the big problem. The general feeling, and we talked about it, Arkansas was not prepared for this game. I don't care what Brett Bielema says. I don't care what the players say. That's what they have to say. They have to say they were prepared. They probably thought they were coming into this game. It was obvious they weren't.
No, not at all. And I think really when we get to the interview with Mitch, you're really going to get a tell there. If you listen to what he says verbatim, you'll get a feeling, one, that there's not a lot of confidence with AC running the ball, and two, that you really felt like they just were not really ready for this team.
All right, we're going to go to the locker room now after the 16-12 loss to Toledo. The Razorbacks fall to a MAC opponent for the first time that I can remember them losing to a MAC opponent. It was 16-12. This was Arkansas coach Brett Bielema in the locker room after the loss.
Yeah, first off, obviously very disappointed, but to give credit to Toledo. Matt has got a good team and been good for a number of years. We knew that we were going to face a team that was very well coached and came here expected to win, and obviously they didn't disappoint. The only ones that disappointed today were us, starting with myself. I think the big thing that we knew that as a football team, the part that you realize in our program, we really hang our head on 5 edges that we built this thing on, and we'll continue to build it on moving forward. And the fifth one is the most telling, is that you earn everything in life. You earn victory and you earn defeat. And today we earned that defeat by what we were able to by what we weren't able to do, and obviously allowed them to do. I think it was a classic example of, you're going to look at the statistical sheet, and I'm not a big stats guy. The only thing I worry about is the win and loss column. But to see, the number of yards that we gained, the number of the time of possession, the first downs, really didn't turn the ball over. But our one turnover was critical. Obviously, it was in the red zone, and it swung huge momentum, but also, obviously left points off the board. Most frustrating thing was that came right after we just put it in the end zone and had points taken off the board because of a penalty. We had 9 penalties. They had 8, but our 9 penalties were absolutely critical, taking away yardage. A couple of them were on big plays that came back, and obviously nothing more critical than that punt return. We really felt that we had a chance to score on that punt return during the course of the week. The guys executed very, very well, and we held the punter. It just doesn't make sense. There's a lot of things out there today that I feel overall, the good news is they're very correctable. They will be corrected, and all those things fall on my shoulders. So I'm embarrassed for our fans, people that travel today, for all the people in Little Rock here, that this game means a lot to them. It means a lot to us, and to not play well here for the second year in a row is very frustrating, and something that I know that we're going to have to correct. I think the biggest thing that we got is we also had some guys getting banged up, injured. Everybody, hopefully, will come back out of that all right, because we're going to need the 70 guys that came over here today to get better in a hurry, starting with tomorrow's practice. As far as the guys that got injured, I really don't have any information on them. I know when I walked out to see Hawk, he wasn't moving his hands and his extremities and stuff like that. I think it just was a pretty big precaution there. He had some pain in his stomach and also a little lightheaded. So I don't know if there's anything more than that out there. We obviously had a couple guys suspended before the half. Some guys that were a little late to our meetings on Friday, so that's why I suspended Jared and Dominique Reed, but those guys joined us in the second half. And probably another indicator, our number one team goal this year is 0 distractions. And if we were distracted today to start the game in any way, it was very evident that we weren't ourselves in the first half. At times we flashed back, but just wasn't good enough. So not to ramble, open it up for questions. Obviously we missed a field goal, didn't take advantage of execution. I think we really got to look at our red zone package. Being able to run the football has got to be first and foremost. We can't just keep taking shots in the end zone. Everything's got to be coordinated there. I think we're just a little bit off, but obviously we need to execute. We always talk touchdowns, not field goals, and that was in a low-scoring game like today. I'll tell you that we're not going to win many games by scoring the amount of points that we did today. That's evident. Obviously, we didn't execute well. I give him hats off. Alex really hadn't practiced with us since Wednesday. Spent Wednesday night in the ER. Had a infection that kind of got the better of him. He really didn't practice until today, but at times he flashed out there today. Raleigh keeps coming along. Unfortunately, lost Cody there. He jammed his thumb up a little bit. We didn't think he could carry the football in the third and fourth quarter, so we got to continue to bring that along. And then bottom line, we got to execute better and clean up the blocking. There was too many things in the running back's face before they crossed the line of scrimmage. Well, I think you got to kind of take what they're giving you, and we were obviously we were throwing the football, I think, fairly well. But for what we do and how we want to be able to manage a clock, we got to run the football a lot better than what we did today. That's without a doubt. Yeah, extreme longs. They went through some deeper routes over the middle, I think, and they took advantage of some. They got inside of some funnels and some routes that we were trying to reroute over the top of us. Got inside, and obviously, anytime you got a third and extra long, there's no question we got to come up with a better package or a better idea of what we can do to stop it. Second to last play. All of our coaches called it. They said as soon as we lined up, they said Henry's going to be open on the shake route, and obviously he was. We just, I think, overthrew him a little bit and weren't able to convert it, but that's kind of the story of the day. Touchdown opportunity is there, and we miss it by about a foot, and obviously it's not. Well, I think what you do in the first, second, third, everybody concentrates on that last, 2 minutes. We could have won that game so many times in the first half, maybe even the third quarter, and just weren't able to do it. Everybody wants to concentrate on those last 2 minutes. And I was actually halfway pleased with the way we moved the ball there with 45 seconds. Our guys talked about, we'd actually been in that same exact scenario 2 times in the last 2 weeks, practicing 2 minutes, and came away with touchdowns. So I think they had some confidence going into it. But we got to play a 4-quarter game to make those games win. Well, it wasn't a block. We just snapped the ball over a guy's head. You're talking about ours, right? Yeah, Drew just let the ball sail a little bit. Toby did a nice job even just getting a hand on it, and then I thought he was going to be able to try and, snake one off, get that out of there. But that was a huge factor in the game. And on the flip side of it, when we blocked that field goal and then our offense went down there and scored, I kind of thought that took the momentum back. And sometimes that's how you got to win these type of games. But we didn't do enough in the end. A couple of things I want the fans to remember on the positive side. Obviously, I told the team this, and I meant us with everything. It's not a conference loss. If there's a silver lining in any of it, that's there. One of our big things is we talk about a 1-0 mentality. I shared with them. I was a team at Kansas State when I was a young coach that lost to Marshall early in the year, and we were ranked number 5 or 6 in the country, and really got our tails handed to us that day pretty handedly, and went on to have a season that actually won a conference championship. And the 1-0 mentality, everybody wants to talk about it when you're rolling, but it's really designed in rough times. It's really designed when you don't win, and you got to focus on that next opportunity, which is tomorrow will be a delicate balance between putting this game to bed, learning from it, the mistakes that we have to, but also moving forward. Yeah, absolutely. Question about not having a fullback. We are still trying to train a few guys. I think the glaring thing that we always have to think about as coaches during recruiting is a position that you're going to find a guy that can adapt to that role as fullback and middle linebacker. And when Josh went down, we had to move Brooksy over to Mike and put Dre in at will. And those are 2 positions that we didn't have a lot of depth at as fullback and Mike linebacker. And it kind of shows its fleas now. I know where he's going. He's going to Keon, and Keon was on the ground. I don't know anything further than that. I know our guys were on the ground a lot during intended routes, and it's going to be obviously up to us to correct and to stay on our feet no matter what happened. They got to be able to get there and be able to stay up. Yeah, absolutely. Last week we had 6 penalties, and 3 of them were unforced on special teams. I believe we had 4 holding calls today, if I'm not mistaken. And those are just, a lot of times it's getting in the right position, finishing the block the right way, being lazy with your feet, and somebody's kind of starting to fall away from you. You just grab, and we obviously got to eradicate that from our practice and eliminate it from our games. Well, it's on me. It's on us as coaches. We got to give them a better plan. If we can't execute it, I think a lot of times we get jammed up, have big people up in there, and we just can't move them. Teams are doing a lot of stunting on us, done a lot of things last year and this year coming across our face, and we got to be able to wash those big guys down. And we definitely got to get our front people playing a lot better at the point of attack. That's for sure. Oh, yeah, we got, a guaranteed 10 more opportunities. Nobody's going to be more ready to play us than Texas Tech this coming Saturday. And then obviously to go on the road and have 3 straight games in the SEC is a challenge within itself. So going to have all kinds of different people, all different reasons firing shots at us. We kind of got to dig ourselves into our foxhole, and the only one that can battle ourselves out of there is ourselves. A great question. I'd hoped from what I'd seen and what I believed and what I thought was there was we were a team that could play physically, but you take the first 2 games, especially in our ability to run the football, and the answer would be no. Defensively, we still had some good plays, and we made some nice hits, but overall, still was able to run the ball sometimes that on 3rd and short and 4th and short that we can't have them happen. Yeah, they were getting rid of it pretty quick. I thought at halftime we talked to our guys. We were getting our hands up, thought we were going to get a tip ball here or there, but sometimes that ball doesn't, exactly happen the way. There were so many times where it looks like we had some PBUs and the balls in the air, and it just kind of fell flat, and then we finally come up with one, and it gets overturned upstairs. So just one of those days that the ball didn't really bounce our way, but you got to make it bounce your way in a game like today. I thought he did a great job. I thought he did a great job of reading coverage. He, for the most part, threw some pretty clean balls that were in a place where only their players could defend it, or those players could catch it. I thought in the third and extra longs, he was a very accurate thrower down the field, which sometimes that doesn't necessarily go hand in hand, and they came in with a really good plan. Yeah. No, I agree. We kind of wanted to bring some things, brought some weak side pressures, but I do think a little bit defensively we got a little bit of got on our heels a little bit, and we got to get our confidence back to get those guys being attacking and pressing downhill. And when we're not, if we're standing at the line of scrimmage and just putting our hands in the air, that's not going to get it done. We got to move the line of scrimmage and be able to play with our hands up when the quarterback's throwing it. Yeah.
Talking about how you believe in uncommon, how does having a loss like this, such a humbling experience, play into the uncommon?
Well, it's an uncommon thing in a bad way, probably. I think the thing that I really try to use that for is in recruiting and trying to develop a certain man that a certain kind of character in a kid that withstands something exactly like this. I mean, you're going to have all the reasons in the world for people to doubt and say certain things, and I think you got to look inside yourself. I really stress to our guys that we earned this loss today, and it started with me. And I think the part that we as a program have built ourselves on is you earn everything in life, and we'll do everything we can tomorrow to get this thing back on track and work our tails off during the week to get an opportunity to play Texas Tech and see where it goes. Any concern with the pass defense? Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you give up some yards and some plays, especially like we did on some third and extra long, you can't just kind of pinpoint it on one thing. I think pass defense is a lot of times affected by pass rush. Pass rush a lot of times is affected by pass defense. If they cover them up, maybe they can get half a second more pass rush and get the land on the quarterback. So it's a little bit of everything, and we'll get our hand on it. Did some of the change in the offensive line just you mean just new guys in new positions in that? Yeah. We try to get our 5 best players on the field. I do know this. We got our 5 best players on the field. There is no doubt about that. I don't feel any remorse in that regards, but we got to get our 5 players playing better. I think the part that in this recruiting thing, in this process, everybody wants to make a big deal of our offensive line, and we have done a nice job building her, but we probably have 5, if you throw B. Wall in there, 6, maybe 7 guys that could be, possibly SEC ready to play. And in this league, you need to have O-line depth just as much as you need D-line depth, and we're unfortunately just not there yet. No, no, I didn't. I knew we were at the end of the game there. I know he was holding the elbow, but nothing.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
That was an obvious disappointed Brett Balaam after the loss today. Next up was quarterback Brandon Allen, and you got to give Brandon this, Chad. He did step up and take the questions, and a lot of the fans down here in the north end zone were yelling his name a lot with some other words we can't say at the end of that game.
Yeah, there was a lot of profanity being slung towards not just him, but a lot of the players. And then you turn around, and as we're sitting there listening to him talk at the podium, you could really tell that he was feeling the emotion. You could see his eyes whelping up just a little bit as the questions started to come. And, of course, I feel like he feels like he has to take the brunt of that because he is the quarterback just as much as the coach does, right? So, but let's move to that interview, and let's listen to what B.A. had to say.
BA, this has to sting a little bit.
Yeah. Didn't deserve to win. We could lose, and that's what we got.
Brandon, you guys were 1 for 5 scoring in the red zone. You got down there. How tough was that? What was going on in the red zone?
Killing ourselves. We scored, got it called back, had a bunch of plays called back. Couldn't punch it in for the life of us today. Can't win against anybody when we're 1 for 5.
I think you hadn't thrown a pick in like 130-something passes. It looked like Keon fell down. What happened on the pick?
Yeah, just a kind of high-low read on a whip and a dig, and thought I had Keon coming open. He fell down, and the guy made a good play.
Hunter was open there late. What
Yeah.
did you see there?
Yeah, the guy, my read key on that bit on Hunter, and saw Keon coming open behind him, and I threw it before it didn't matter.
Brandon, 53 passes, run game struggling. Any explanation? Thoughts on it?
Couldn't get it going. I'll give them credit. They did a good job stopping it, but we can't win. We're one-dimensional. Got to be able to run the ball, and today we couldn't.
You got gained them by about 200 yards, over 500 yards. Normally, that you do that, you're going to win. How frustrating was that?
Very. We were, like you said, we're 1 for 5 in the red zone, and you can gain all the yards you want. It's not going to matter if you can't put it in the end zone.
As a leader of this football team, what do you have to do with this team this week to get ready for Texas Tech?
I know this team. We have our minds right. This isn't gonna affect the rest of the season. We have a lot of games left. This tomorrow we'll watch the film. We'll move on. We'll get ready for Texas Tech, and I know this team. There's no quit. This is one game. We got 10 more. Got a lot of games to play, and this team's got their mind right, and we're going to play each and every game like it's our last one, and we're trying to win them all.
85 yards in penalties. Coach Preach is playing clean. Didn't get it done today in that area.
Right.
Any thoughts?
That killed us. It really did. Anytime we had momentum going on offense, we'd have a holding call or something get called back, and I think we scored a touchdown at the end. Holding call it back. So really was killing our momentum with penalties, and you can't win when you're killing yourself.
Did you ever think you guys would only score 12 points in a game this season?
No.
It was a tough situation. The ball was like 50 seconds, no timeouts, but you guys were able to get down there in the red zone again. What was going good on that drive, and did you feel like you guys were going to score there?
Yeah, I thought we were going to score, and we moved the ball pretty much all day. Just can't punch it in, and got all the way down there, gave ourselves a chance. Last play, kind of just dropped everyone out in the end zone, looking for somebody to throw it to, and kind of settled it a little bit.
And that was Arkansas quarterback Brandon Allen after the 16-12 loss to Toledo today. Jermichael Winston talked next in the locker room.
What did they do to give you guys fits?
There's a lot of scheming up. They schemed us up pretty good, and the plays they got on us, you could tell they've been working on it.
A lot of times you expect Arkansas playing a team like that to kind of out-physical them. It seemed like it was almost the other way. Were you surprised at how physical they were?
Yeah, they were pretty physical today, and they came out with a lot of energy today, and played good football and earned a win.
There's been times when a loss like this for a big program against a smaller school would kind of affect the next game and the next game. What did Coach talk about in that postgame about making it just be the one loss and not letting it linger?
Just having a 1-0 mentality, and just moving on to the next one. Can't let one bad game affect the next, and just gotta go in on Sunday and start focusing on Texas Tech and getting better.
What was happening on the 3rd and longs? Because they converted several 3rd and longs.
They were getting the ball out quick to their guy, their slot guy, number 4. He was doing a good job at catching the ball and getting the first down.
Jamal, has this set in yet, or are you still trying to figure out if this really happened or not?
I'm still trying to figure out if this really happened or not. This is a heartbreaker, and it's bad.
Mentally, what do you as a leader need to do for this team and the team itself to not give up right now?
Just go in and approach it with a pro mentality, and just get ready for the next week, and don't let this get us down, and just keep encouraging guys to just keep going and going.
What do you think you need to do to get more pressure? It looked like it was tough to get to him. I know he had a quick release, but you guys surprised you can get a little more pressure?
Oh yeah, we can always do stuff to get a little bit more pressure on him, but he was getting the ball out fairly quick on us, and he did a good job at what he was taught to do.
Michael, Arkansas is like 1 in 5 in the last 6 games down here. I know you haven't played in all those, but what do you think's going on with that? How tough a deal is there? Somebody coming to Little Rock that is tough for you guys? Or?
I wouldn't say that. It's just Toledo earned their win today, and all the other guys who came down here and beat us, they earned their win, and we didn't. So,
Jermichael, were they better than you thought they'd be?
they were a fairly good team. I never underestimate any of my opponents, but they were a fairly good team coming out the MAC conference.
Fundamentally, is it X's and O's, or did you guys have a bad game?
I just feel like we all had a bad game collectively.
And so you think you can get it corrected?
Oh, yes, sir. Most definitely. Special teams, offense, defense, we can all do better.
get out and you get the offense back?
Oh yes, sir. Most definitely. I feel like we all can rally together. This only can bring us stronger and closer together, and we can either go forward from uphill from here.
Oh man, good luck.
Now we go with the final interview of the day, lineman Mitch Smothers.
You guys outgained them by a couple hundred yards. How tough is that to lose a game when you dominate like that statistically?
We didn't play clean enough. We had too many penalties, pre-snap penalties, post-snap penalties that drove us back, and you can't win football games if you have that many penalties.
Given what happened last year with grounding and pounding people, it looked like this year was set up to be that again. And today, maybe not the rushing numbers you'd like, and same with last week. What do you think's going on there?
Well, we're not going to let one game define this whole season. We still got a lot of football left to play, and we're definitely going to work on that.
What's been the difference, though, in the rushing game and not getting the yards you guys would like?
Well, these first two opponents, they like to move a lot on us, and we just didn't come ready to move them vertical like we should have. And like I said, we'll become better.
When you say didn't come ready, were you guys not prepared for this one?
It's hard to say. I'm just going to go back to what Coach B said. We just didn't earn it. We didn't come out and play Arkansas football, and that's all I got to say about that.
Mitch, you guys were 1 for 5 scoring in the red zone. What do you think was happening down there? How frustrating is that?
It's definitely very frustrating, but then again, it goes back to us up front, me including. We didn't run the ball like we should have today, and that's the one thing you got to do in the red zone is run the football if you want to win football games.
Did you think, you guys, even though you only got the ball back with, a little over a minute or whatever, you got all the way down there and Brandon was able to throw in the end zone a couple times. I mean, did you think you guys were going to be able to pull that one out?
I believe that we were going to win this game, when we first came out there, but it's just one of those things that happen in football. And like I said, we're not going to let this game, ruin our season. We're not going to let it carry over the next week. We got to have the 1-0 mentality that Coach always talks about. We're going to come back and be better.
Mitch, how much do y'all miss Jonathan Williams right now?
It's hard without Jonathan because that with any player it can be taken away just like that, just like it did with Jonathan. I just feel for him because he's not able to go out there and help us win.
What do you miss from him as a runner and also as he was a locker room leader as well?
Yeah, he still brings the locker room leadership because he's one of our team captains and he's there. But it's just we miss his. He has a good vision at the backfield, and it's just again it starts up front. We didn't move him like we should.
That's going to do it from War Memorial Stadium. Keep up with us at foxsportsarkansas.com, Fidelity Local 6. We'll see you next week from Reynolds Razorback Stadium.